Guys, we have another great video here on the Pawn Man channel. We got some wild deals walking in, I got some educational pieces of history to talk about, and a little bit later, we're talking all about collectible stamps. If you don't subscribe to this channel, please do so. We post videos all about my life in the gold and silver business, as well as my videos traveling through China. So hit that subscribe button and strap in for another great episode of Pawn Man. Well, we love story time here. I've got a little story that I've never told before on Pawn Man. This is an incredible story. What would you do if you were out and about treasure hunting with a metal detector and you stumbled across over $5 million in gold? Let's talk about something known as the Staffordshire Hoard. This is one of the most interesting archaeological finds ever. It is the largest hoard of Anglo-Saxon gold ever discovered, and there's a lot of strange things with this treasure that was found. So this story takes place back in 2009. There's a gentleman named Terry Herbert, and he is an amateur metal detector. He's got just a metal detecting machine. He does it as like kind of a fun hobby, and he asks a friend if he can search his property, this farm. He's thinking maybe he'll find a few coins, not anything like what he actually finds. So as the name suggests, this takes place in Staffordshire, England. So he's out in this field and his machine starts going crazy. And he starts digging and he uncovers this big twisted piece of gold. He's like, holy crap. And he keeps looking and the machine's going nuts. In all, he found over 11 pounds of gold and 3 pounds of silver. And this is treasure from the 7th century. It includes sword hilts, helmet fragments, golden crosses, intricate figurines, weapons of all kind, and even war trophies, things taken from enemies that were killed in combat. Now, the modern valuation, as I said, is about $5.3 million. But what made this so shocking, it wasn't just the size, it was the mystery. There's no coins, there's no jewelry, there's no obvious royal insignias. And scholars think this came from a Mercian king, and this was buried in a time of upheaval, but it was never properly recovered. It was just lost to history. Unlike other hoards or other archaeological finds like this wasn't buried for safekeeping. This was buried under some kind of an act, some kind of an emergency act. Something symbolic maybe. Some kind of a political upheaval was going on and this stuff was never recovered. To give further credence to this, some of these objects were intentionally bent, which is a practice that was known as ritual killing. It's desecrating the item and then putting it in the ground as part of a ritual. And this discovery turned everything scholars knew about Anglo-Saxon warfare completely on its head. They had a rough idea of how weapons were made, but they had never had anything so perfectly preserved as what was found here. It was a real interesting archaeological find. The level of detail in these pieces, despite being in the ground for that long, was astounding. It blew scholars away, the quality of what was recovered. What it really did was show the Anglo-Saxons were a lot more artistic and intricate with their workings than what was originally thought. And here's the real kicker. This was found just 150 feet away from an ancient Roman road. And this is significant because it might mean that these items were buried there as some kind of a spiritual action, something ritualistic with the relation to the road. They think that the two items being by each other are connected. So this hit the media, it made a huge splash. Both the British Museum and the Birmingham Museum have been touring these items. They've been seen by millions of people. It's made the rounds all over England. It's a very popular tourist attraction. And these pieces today are still being studied. Scientists and scholars are still getting new insight out of this discovery. This story shows metal detecting is definitely something you can do well on. I have dealt with people in the past that have come in here. They bring me all the stuff they've been metal detecting. One guy said it broke down to about $20 an hour. You're spending a lot of time, you don't find anything, but all it takes is one good hit and you can find treasure. God, you did bring a lot of stuff.
All right, what do we got?
What do we got? Oh my, lots of slabs.
Cheapish.
Cheap slabs. Boomer. How much do you want? Oh, President Reagan. Wow. Can you toss me a notepad, please? What the hell kind of throw is that?
It's like 18.
Okay.
A couple of nice dime sets. Mostly.
Common dates.
Yeah, like 130 a piece.
I'll let you keep them.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty. 100 years of self-sufficiency. You know who's not self-sufficient? What do you want on these ones?
There's 150 grams of sterling. I don't know, melt would be great.
I'll do melt.
Okay. Canadian sets with the silver dollar. Even the toonie is sterling silver.
Is it really?
Yeah, here, check it out. Gold plated inner core.
I had no idea. Okay, what else?
Got a signature on it. 12 bucks.
Yeah, I'll do 12 for this.
$12.
Do you guys see these signatures? This is boomer. Who signed this? Charlie Duke. Who's Charlie Duke? Is he an astronaut?
I don't know.
Maybe he is. I don't know who he is, and I don't care. All I can tell you is you're not buying an autograph. You're buying a coin.
That's it. That's all I brought.
Add her up.
I'll do it.
4188.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Ciao.
Beefcake. 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 I can't recommend this thing enough. All right, let's go over the deal. Some of these are really good deals. $5 each on these Susans. I'll probably get 10. I got a whole type set of Susans here. Paid 48 for the 4. Bunch of good Canadian silver. Some good toners. Okay, not that one. I don't feel like going through it all. I don't feel like ripping every box open, but yeah, there's some good stuff here. Some good slabs. I'll keep a few of these for my showcase. I think I'll keep this MS-70. Some of these Canadian silver dollars, some of these retail for like 60, 70 bucks. And some boomer and oh yeah, a bunch of presidential medals. All right, well, not fun. Okay, let's take a look. You want me to start with these two?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, 835 on that one. 550 on this one. Okay, what else?
And this is all silver.
This is silver, okay. $315.
I will have to call her and see what she says.
Okay. Offer stands, yeah, all week.
What do you pay for silver and what do you pay for gold?
Silver is gonna be about $1 a gram. That's just a little bit under the melt value. It's melting at I think $1.05 now. And the gold's gonna be 75 a gram on 14 karat.
Are these both 14 or?
Both those gold rings, yeah, are 14.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, just come on back. That guy, those silver rings were really, really nice. We'll see if he comes back. The gold was crap. I'll melt all of it down. There's some tiny diamonds in there. I'll smelt them out if he comes back. I'll make about $400 or $500 on the deal if he comes back, but we'll see if he does. I have a feeling he's gonna shop it. Somebody might give him a higher offer. I don't know. If somebody's buying the jewelry to resell it, those rings are easily $1,000 in those rings for resale. But we shall see. Okay, costume.
Oh boy.
This is not silver. This is not silver. I don't think anything in that bag is.
It's not?
I don't think so. No, that's not.
You haven't looked at it.
No, I can tell though.
You can tell?
Yeah. All right, I will put acid on this. I don't think this is genuine.
It's gonna ruin it?
Yeah, it'll ruin it if I put acid on it. It's the only way for me to tell. I don't think this is genuine.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be careful next time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just because it says so doesn't mean that it is. Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you a picture. What do you think of this?
Looks too shiny to be real.
Yeah. And it's marked that way.
If you bring it in, I can test it. I can't tell just by looking.
Just by looking, give me your...
It looks a little shiny to me.
Yeah. She's just like a girl I'm going to buy from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so worried. Maybe I'll buy like a scrap or something, thinking it's gold. There's no way that I'll be able to return it.
Right.
I'm so worried.
Bring a magnet.
I have a magnet,
Yeah.
a little one.
No, bring a powerful one.
Do you have a powerful one?
You get them on Amazon, like a fishing magnet.
I know, but right now I'll bring it back. If you buy a spare.
I kind of need mine.
You always have a lot of in here.
I got 2. I need them for my store. I'm sorry. That woman is driving me nuts. She has been here since I've been back for a week now, and she has been in here 4 times. She never has anything. This was the easiest I've had to deal with her. She's difficult and doesn't take no for an answer. And like, lady, oh my God, I'm not gonna give you my equipment. Like, just go on Amazon and buy it yourself. I did one deal with her last week. I gave her $10 and I was like, take it or leave it. And yeah, she just has costume and she fights me on it. And she's like, well, how do you know? Cause this is a gold and silver business. I know. Anyway, don't we love the people? It's so much fun people watching here. I bought a lot of coins when I was in China, and I'm sending these in for grading. Let me show you guys how to grade or how to do the grading with NGC. There's 2 options. There's the paper option. You fill out a form. Don't do that. It takes forever. The online form is super easy. Let me walk you through it. So you will go online. Step 1 is you enter your shipping info. Step 2, you got to go line by line. But I got this coin right here I bought in China. This 1996 5 yuan copper coin. It's a tiger graded. If this grades right, this is worth like at least $70. So quantity, 1. Country, China, year 1996. Mint mark, I have no idea. NGC, if you missed this, they will do it for you. They're very forgiving. Denomination 5 yuan. We do PIA, proof for mint state. This is mint state. And if you make a mistake, again, variety, I don't know, they will. Value per coin, I'm just putting $5 on this. It's worth more than that, but anything under like 0 to 100, I don't think it matters. So I'm just gonna put $5. And then for my pedigree, I got Pawn Man's Collection. Paste. And that's it. Save. There we go. Okay, so add line item. We got a roll here from the Chinese Mint, all uncirculated. There's 20 coins in here. Same thing, you get the idea. So it's very easy. Sometimes for really rare coins like ancients, you do have to fill out the form. I honestly don't know how to do it. One of my guys does, but he just taught me how to do this part. Because I'm being helpful today. But I'd strongly recommend you guys, if you're gonna get your coins graded, I like NGC. Their turnaround time is fast, they're very fair. I think most coin dealers prefer them, it's just my opinion. So head to NGC's website, get a membership, and you too can start grading coins. I should rephrase that. Sending them in to get graded. There we go. All right, guys, for this episode, we're talking about something that I've kind of been putting off. It's just because I'm not interested in it. That being said, it is definitely an interesting field. I'm sure many of you at home are interested in it. We're talking all about stamps, collectible stamps, the history of it, some expensive examples. They're very nuanced. They're very difficult to master as a field. It's definitely something that's more advanced as far as collectibles go. You got to really know your stuff. Spotting fakes is extremely difficult, and I have made a serious blunder in stamps. I once sold a stamp for $2 on a whatnot auction. It turned out to be worth more like 500, and that just kind of rubs me the wrong way whenever that happens. I never forget when I make a mistake like that. And part of that is I just myself am uneducated. So let's talk about stamps, how they became a thing, and yeah. Stamp collecting is also known as philately, which sounds sexual. This is one of the most enduring and beloved hobbies in human history. It is because of the intricate designs. It is because, just like with coins, stamps are history, and you can learn a lot about a culture or a people just based on the stamps. So let's talk about what makes stamps valuable, the history of it, and everything else you need to know, all things stamp. I'm gonna stamp some knowledge into your brain. The origins of stamp collecting actually don't go back quite as far as I thought. I thought it was a lot older. They date back to the mid-19th century, where we had the first adhesive stamp known as the penny black. And this was issued in Great Britain in 1840. As postal services became more of a staple and they expanded worldwide, so too did the intricacy and the love of collecting stamps. In fact, this is really one of the first global community of collectors, because you can be in China, you can be in America, you can be anywhere in the world, and you might have a love of stamps, because stamps really started becoming a thing globally at the same time. Now, some collectors focus on themes for their collections. These themes include historical figures, animals, pick a theme, any theme. Other people will assemble only certain kinds of rare stamps. They only want the prestigious, expensive stuff. Some people will assemble a stamp collection based on region. What country is it from? Example, I only collect stamps from Indonesia. So why collect stamps? Number one, historical significance. Many stamps feature important events, places, people, history. Number two, artistic beauty. There's a lot of really famous stamps that are done by famous artists. A lot of the designs are very cool. Very often limited edition stamps, and they make them to this day, every year. There's always, if you go to your local post office, there's always some kind of a limited edition stamp. And oftentimes it will feature either prominent artwork from a certain artist, or it will feature collections of art, or they try to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible. Number three is investment potential. Like with any collectible, there certainly is opportunity to buy low and sell high, and to hedge an item over time and hope that it goes up in value. Number four, the thrill of the hunt. Very much like with collecting coins, people take a lot of joy in looking for a stamp. Although you can go online and buy a stamp and buy any stamp you want, the thrill of the hunt sometimes is what hobbyists want. And lastly, the educational value. Stamps offer a unique perspective on geography, on world history, on culture, on politics. You can learn quite a lot about history, about historical figures, about people, all of the above, just from looking at a stamp. So what makes a stamp valuable? Well, number one is rarity. The more scarce a stamp is, the more expensive it is. There's some stamps, there's only a few known. They're very expensive. Other stamps that are mass produced, less expensive. Number two is condition. And very much like with a coin, the condition of the stamp matters quite a bit. 3, printing errors. Very much like with error coins, there are error stamps. Misprints and errors can make a stamp extremely desirable. We'll talk about this in a bit. The inverted flying Jenny is one of the most famous stamps of all time. Such examples include inverted designs like I just mentioned, missing colors, or misaligned perforations. Number 4, historical significance. Stamps linked to major world events or prominent historical figures often can command a huge premium. Wartime stamps and stamps issued during significant political change are some of the best examples of those. And number 5, provenance. A stamp's ownership history can affect its value. Stamps that were held in famous collections, very much like coin hoards, or stamps that were owned or used by famous historical individuals. Example, a stamp that Lincoln used. Great historical item, and it's a stamp too, as the name suggests. So if you are interested in this field, where can you get expensive stamps or rare stamps, or where can you start your collection? Number 1, you can go to stamp shows and stamp conventions. Major expos such as the APS Stamp Show are excellent places to find rare, historical, and treasured stamps, really good stuff. There's not a whole lot of stamp shows anymore because it is a shrinking hobby. Just look for it, but they're not as prevalent as they used to be. Number 2, auctions. Prestigious auction houses like Christie's or Sotheby's often will have stamp auctions, or they will feature stamps in prominent auctions. And this is where you're getting the really good stuff, because somebody like Sotheby's or Christie's, they're only gonna take more expensive stuff. They're not gonna take something that's a few cents a stamp. Number 3, philatelic societies and clubs. You can look online. There's digital groups, there's meetups. I'm sure if you live in any of the 50 states, there's stamp groups that you can get involved with. Finally, estate sales and private collections. If you visit estate sales, check your newspaper listings or wherever they post estate sale listings these days. Kind of sound old. And see if they feature stamps. They'll always mention if there's stamps. But truly, because this is such a hard field and there's so few experts in it, particularly these days, if you know what you're doing, you can really clean up. Now, if you're going to get into this, how do you care for stamps? So use proper albums or stock books. You want hingeless mounts, plastic sleeves. You want things that are not going to be interfering with the condition of the stamp, but they will protect it. You know, you put a coin in a book, you damage it. If you put a stamp in a book, you don't necessarily damage it, but you have to be careful. Don't lick it and stick it in. That ruins it. You should handle stamps with gloves or with tongs. Make sure your hands aren't sweaty, grimy, there's nothing on them. Like I said, wear gloves, be very careful with them. You're gonna wanna store your stamps in a set temperature because they are paper, they can disintegrate. Store them between 65 and 72 degrees, and you want humidity at about 40 to 55%. Avoid attics, basements, garages, anything where the elements can get in can ruin your stamps. You also want to keep stamps away from the light, kind of like with currency. If light sits on a stamp for too long, sunlight, it'll ruin the stamp. You want to keep them in a dark place. You also might want UV resistant sleeves for your stamps to protect them against light. You're going to want to watch out for pests, rats, insects, even your household pets. You want to keep pets away from stamps or any kind of pest. Finally, you're going to want to protect your stamps against pressure and curling. Don't stack them on top of each other. Don't throw them in a box. Take good care of them. Now, like with any expert field or any field where items can get expensive, you do need to watch out for forgeries. Here's a few tips on how to look for a fake stamp or make sure that yours is genuine. Genuine stamps are often printed on specific kinds of paper. Wove, laid, granite. Kind of like if you're looking at a World War II item, and it's made of polyester, not cotton. The material isn't right. It's ahead of the time, the material, so that's how you can tell a fake. Very similar with this. Fakes may either feel too smooth or they'll be too thick. Look and see if something seems funny. You can also use a watermark detector or fluid. Fakers often miss this, and it's a great dead giveaway. Number 2, look at the printing technique. Look at it under a 10 times magnifying loupe. Engraved stamps will show raised ink lines and detailed texture, versus counterfeits can look flat or they'll look pixelated. Also check for perforations. You can buy a perforation gauge. If the perforation is off, it's probably not an error, it's probably fake. You can use an ultraviolet light. Counterfeits will often be fluorescent, and this wasn't something in the paper technique back in the 19th and 20th century. If there's a cancellation mark, make sure the cancellation mark is genuine. Is it authentic with the country and the date where it was canceled? Is it too perfect? Is it out of place? Also check for repairs, alterations, look to see if a stamp was ripped and then somehow glued back together or something was done to it. Very much like with a coin being cleaned, it's the same thing here with stamps. You can also reference stamp catalogs, you can use the internet, you can seek out expert help. Some red flags: a seller that doesn't take returns, if a deal seems too good to be true, if the seller seems pushy, stamps that are sold in bulk treasure lots. I mean, these are all red flags to watch out for. And before we close this by talking about the top 10 most expensive stamps ever sold, let's talk about why this is kind of a dying field. Number one, the mail is kind of dying because of the rise of digital communication. People, instead of using a stamp, although I literally have some stamps right here that I use for sending mail, people would much rather send an email than they would pay money for a stamp. So stamps, as far as their use goes, it is declining. You also have an aging collector base. This is more of a, I'm sorry, but this is kind of a boomer hobby. There's also a decline in perceived value because people think, oh, stamps, those must be expensive. And by and large, they are not. As far as investment stamps go, those haven't matured like coins. Because it is a dying hobby or just because it is shrinking, the perceived value of stamps is a lot smaller. You're gonna have a much harder time selling your stamps, and there's just less buyers out there than there are for coins. You also have an overproduction of stamps. There are so many collectible stamps that come out every year. And because of that saturation of the market with fewer and fewer collectors in it, the market itself is just overflowing. You also have a lack of media representation. When was the last time in something pop culture related you saw something about stamps? Somebody's into collecting stamps, it's a character's hobby. I can't think of anything from pop culture with stamps. You also have competition from other hobbies, everything from video games to NFTs to things like Funko Pops. There's a lot of diversity in collecting and hobbies, and it's way more so now than there was 50 years ago. Can this hobby be revived? It could. I think it's highly unlikely. You would need a lot of different influencers plugging stamps, and I just don't see stamp enthusiasts on social media plugging it. Never say never. I just don't see this hobby coming back. Now, ironically, rare stamps are having a big resurgence. Rare stamps are fetching more now at auction than they ever have, and yet you have the hobby itself is shrinking, but people are paying more and more for the really rare stamps. Here are 10 stamps that if you can swing it, boy, it may not be a bad idea. They will probably continue to go up in value. Here's some really high prices I found for stamps at auction. Number 10, the penny black, as we talked about. I found an example of this that sold for $345,000. Number 9, the Hawaiian missionaries, $600,000. These 1851 stamps from Hawaii are incredibly rare. Most of them were used by missionaries and were lost over time. Number 8, the China Red Revenue Small $1, $889,000. This was a rare stamp from China from 1897. It was quickly withdrawn from circulation and is now highly collectible. Number 7, the USS 1868 Benjamin Franklin Z Grill. This is a rare US stamp. There's only 2 examples that are known. $935,000 for that one. Number 6, the Mauritius Post Office stamps. Issued in 1847, this is one of the first stamps printed in a British colony. This sold for $1.3 million. Number 5, the Baden 9 Cruiser Error. This is a German stamp from 1851. It was mistakenly printed green instead of pink. $1.5 million. Number 4, the Inverted Jenny. And this is a misprint from 1918. It features the plane, but it's printed upside down. $1.6 million. Number 3, the Sicilian Error of Color. This is a rare Italian misprint from 1859, and it's prized for its inverted color scheme. $2.6 million on that. Number 2, the Treskelling Yellow. This is a Swedish stamp from 1855, and it had a printing error which made it unique. Instead of being printed green, it was printed yellow. $2.6 million on this one. And number 1, at $9.48 million for a stamp, the British Guiana 1 cent magenta. This stamp was issued in 1856. It is considered the rarest in the world. There is only one of them that are known. So imagine finding one of those. Now tell me in the comment section, do you guys collect stamps? If so, how did you get into it? Are you interested in it? This is something I've put off for a while, but this is a staple of collectibles. It's not my cup of tea per se. That's not to say I haven't seen some interesting stamps. In fact, I've seen some that I've really liked. It's just the amount of knowledge it takes to become an expert at this is a way larger time investment than getting into coins. Stamps are very brittle. They're hard to take care of, but indeed, this is a great aspect of history. It's a great hobby, and potentially you can do very well if you know what you're doing. All right, guys, well, that'll do it for this video. I think we stamped out a good time. We licked it and stick it. I'm gonna shut up. If you guys liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you don't follow this channel, subscribe and do so for more videos of Pawnman, also my travels across China. Head to pawnmanstore.com for the best deals on precious metal, also some very rare coins and other cool stuff that you see being purchased here in the store. Follow me on social media at Pawnman. I'm all across the board, and come on back here for another great video. Later, guys.